In other news here tonight, health violations explained at two North Country schools. At Gouverneur Central, the district was cited with three critical violations. The state health department called it canned food found in poor condition, leakers, severe dents, rusty, or swollen cans. The superintendent tells us a 10-pound can of peaches had a large dent in it, and it was discovered by the inspector. Another citation with Gouverneur for possible cross-contamination from raw foods. The superintendent tells us it happened because a carton of eggs was placed above salad dressing and cheese sticks in the refrigerator, and there was never any indication that the eggs were broken or leaking. The school leader, Jackie Kelly, doesn't see any of this as alarming, but it is important.
It's always important for people to ask questions and understand the details. And keep in mind that our students' safety is our top priority. So when we see something like this, we take corrective measures in order to ensure their health and safety.
Lisbon Central was also cited for 4 violations. Superintendent Patrick Farron tells 7 News often citations seem more harsh than what they are. Says corrections have been made, and they were made immediately. And in the most recent inspection, it happened right after a school fire drill, and it impacted the production and serving process. Other schools had single violations. Neither Gouverneur or Lisbon were fined, and both superintendents commended their food service workers.